Scotty2 Hockey here, aka The Average Hockey Fan, and I have a late recap for you guys, but the Habs end on a high note, and they do it for Bob Cole. Me, myself, I'm exactly from where they show where Bob Cole was to, where they show, they call it the Quiet Divide, it's called Quiddy Viddy, where I come from, where they show Quiddy Viddy Lake, the Gut. That lake, that's exactly where I grew up to. I grew up on Regatta Terrace. Bob Cole grew up on the bottom of Signal Hill. We're both Newfoundlanders, and we're both Habs fans, and I'm so proud the Habs won for him. The first Habs player to debut and score a hat-trick since 1943. Ryan Poeling is a stud. The Habs smoked Toronto. I'm not going to say smoke them. They still beat them either way. And the Habs end on a high note. I know we didn't make the playoffs, guys, but what better way could you end without making the playoffs than that? Your stud rookie who's going to come in next year and be absolutely excellent. I heard the hockey guy say he thinks he could even win a Calder next year, and I wouldn't be surprised. Hat-trick in his very first game as a Hab, shootout winner, star of the game. Does it for Bob, gives him memories that he has after 50 years of calling hockey. I guarantee you he'll never forget this memory in the Bell Center. Go Habs, go baby. Habs win 6-5 over the Toronto Maple Leafs, and I'm going to have a great Ryan Poeling video for you guys tomorrow, and after that I'm going to have a team evaluation where I evaluate every player and grade every player. It's going to take a while to do it, so it may be a day or two, but I will be putting that out there for you guys. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. The more subscribers, the better. I'm up to 75 subscribers. I've only been doing it for 2 months. Hopefully I can get up to 100 like my buddy Rick over there at Talking Habs. He's doing great with it. Go, Rick. Montreal, shots 49, hits 25, face-off percentage 56.4 all around. Great game for the Habs. 49 shots, guys. Power play, 1 for 1. Penalty kill, 1 for 1. Lingering, .890 save percentage. Stopped 44 of 49. As for Toronto, their shots, 49. Their hits were 8. Their face-off percentage was 43.6. Their power play was 0 for 1. Their penalty kill was 0 for 1. So Montreal kills a penalty, and they get a power play goal. Jordan Wheel's second power play goal of the year, if I'm not mistaken. Great pickup. Need to re-sign that guy. Lindgren, he didn't have the best game, but going into the third period, he was solid in the third, and he was great in overtime, and good enough in the shootout. Good to see Lindgren, and I don't know if any of you other guys noticed last night, but the way Lindgren's hair was and the way he looked with his mask up, he kind of looked like Patrick Roy last night. Obviously, he didn't look like him form-wise, but just looking at his face and looking at him with the helmet above his head, I kind of had flashbacks to Patrick Roy when I was a kid. It was crazy. But Lindgren stopped 44 of 49, 890 save percentage. Anderson stopped 44-49, 890 save percentage. I feel kind of bad for these guys that shootout stops don't count. Because there would be a couple extra saves for them that they made. They made the big saves. They should get those saves. I understand goals not counting, but the goalies should get the saves in those shootouts. They make the saves. They should get the saves. First period, Zach Hyman scores .550 in an unassisted goal in front of the Habs net. I'm not going to go into great detail with the Toronto goals. There's a lot of goals. I'll do the best on the detail I can with the Montreal goals. After that, 8:30 into the first period, Gardner scores from Marner and Hyman. It's looking like the Habs are going to let Bob down tonight. It's looking like they're going to let the fans down tonight. And I was really surprised because Domi and Gallagher and all the guys before the game in their interviews were saying they want to play hard for the Habs tonight. They were all out taking pictures with Bob Cole, Toronto and Montreal players. This was an important game, clearly. I know they're not getting to the playoffs. I know technically on paper it shouldn't mean anything, but it meant a lot to the fans. It meant a lot to Bob Cole and his Newfoundlander. It meant so much to me. I really wanted them to see him get that win. And when they went down 2-0 like that, in a game they weren't even playing that bad and it was kind of back and forth, I really thought it could have been a dagger to the heart if the Leafs had to score another one. But thankfully, number 25, the super rookie, steps up. 11:41 into the first period. Ryan Poeling gets a beautiful goal from Wheel and Delorier right in front of the net. He ended up getting it somehow in front of the net. I think it was off a Wheel rebound. He comes in, he puts it right in front of Anderson. Well, he's pretty much on him with the Toronto player pushing him into Anderson. Ends up getting it through his pad, squeezing it under his skate, something like that. Toronto challenged it, which I don't understand why they would do. It's Montreal's rookie, and it's a meaningless game to Toronto. Like, if there is a team that it's meaningless for, it's Toronto. Yes, they may love Bob Cole, stuff like that, but this is in Montreal. It was clearly a good goal. Why challenge it? Is that just like an insult to the Habs or something? I don't understand the challenge on that. But thankfully they were wrong, and they were clearly wrong. I knew Montreal. I knew that goal was going to count. Second period, 2:56 in. Poeling ties it up. A beautiful goal off a Petrie rebound. He's on the side of the net, comes off, hits off the post, I believe. It might have hit off Anderson, but I think it hit off the post. Came right out to Poeling. Wide open net, beautiful second goal. He's in the right spot at the right time, positionally sound, young defensive, positionally sound. I'm going to say young defensive center. Last night he was an offensive dynamo, but as far as defensively sound, this guy looks like he's ready to play in the NHL right now. He knows where to be on the ice, and he looks super confident out there. I love KK, but Poeling in his first game looked more confident than what KK did in his first 10 games, and I love KK. I believe he's just as good as Poeling, but Poeling was on his game last night, and Delorier also had an assist on that. 7:04 after that, power play goal for the Habs. This year was death by power play. The lack of scoring on the power play certainly did kill us. It would have helped so much. I guarantee you get your power play up another 6-7%. You would have got 3 or 4 more points at the end of the year, but it didn't come down to that. It was death by power play this year. The power play didn't get upgraded, but Jordan Wheel ends the power play on a good note, 1-for-1, 100% on the power play at the end of the year. Everything went great in this game. Just wish it had to count as a game that got us into the playoffs. Wheel scores from Armia and Drouin. 8:47 in, Moore scores from Frederick Gauthier for the Leafs. Then after that, Shaw scores from Domi and Lehkonen. Then after that, Nylander scores on a wraparound from Kadri. It's 4-4 going into the third period. And the third period, Toronto Maple Leafs player who hasn't scored in quite some time. He looked very, very relieved when he scored. Kapanen scores from Matthews and Janssen. Matthews had himself a pretty decent game tonight. 17:29 in. It looked like it was going to come down to the end. The Leafs were going to close it out. Yes, the Habs were trying, but it looked like the Leafs were going to close it out. Ryan Poeling had other ideas. He gets a pass from Arturi Lehkonen. He comes up. He's pretty much on a breakaway. He has the Leaf player on his side. He is closing in. He doesn't have a pile of space to get the shot off, but he has enough room to get a beautiful shot off. He gets it over Frederik Andersen's shoulder. Bar down, beautiful goal, ties it up and goes into a shootout. And into the shootout, the first Montreal player doesn't score. Second Toronto player, I don't believe scores. Then the next Montreal player, I don't think scored. And then Matthews came up. Matthews scored on a beautiful wrist shot, and it was all up to Drouin to keep it, to save the Habs' hopes. Because I don't think if he had to score, I'm not 100% sure if the Habs would have had an extra shooter after that. It's really hard to remember because it was yesterday. But Drouin scores a clutch shootout goal to keep it tied up in the shootout. They end up having to go into extra rounds. Tavares missed, I believe Tavares missed for Toronto, and then it came down to Poeling. And Poeling, make no mistake about it, in his debut, he was not joking around. His family was there. He had a bunch of family members there. Bob Cole watching down on him. They show Ryan Poeling coming in at a shootout shot. They show a little box in the corner of Bob Cole looking down. You could see as much. Bob Cole's not a guy who shows a lot of excitement, but you could see the excitement on his face when Poeling was coming towards the net. And sure enough, he scores that goal. And Bob Cole scores, and you hear the goal go off. The place goes nuts, and I believe another Toronto player shot. Lindgren stops him. Habs win the game. Huge win for the Habs. My thoughts on the game: Ryan Poeling is a stud, and what a way to go into next year. I know a lot at the end of this summer, a lot of the talk was going to be, oh, the Habs collapsed at the end. So much negativity at the end. They were in a playoff spot. They played their way out of it, this, that, and everything. But I think this is going to change the narrative into this. Habs have a very young, exciting team. They have a World Junior MVP who just came into Montreal and scored a hat-trick in his first game. They have KK playing great. He should be there next year. Nick Suzuki is probably going to come in and make a difference. I think he's going to come in and play wing next year on the third line and help the power play. I'll do my projected lineups in July after the draft for sure, guys. But I think Nick Suzuki is going to play next year. I think he's going to be a third line winger myself. That's just my prediction. And I think Poeling's going to be the third line center. And I think KK is either going to end up the second line center or he's going to be playing the wing position too. But that's talk for another day. But it changes the narrative for me, guys. It changes the narrative into, we could have came into this game, we could have lost to Toronto after losing a big Washington game, ended it on a sour note. Poeling could have not scored a goal, just played fourth line minutes and looked average. But instead, he scores a hat-trick. Her first Habs since 1943. Bob Cole's last game, the Habs fight tooth and nail, score a goal. The player that scored the hat-trick, the rookie that debuted, that scored the hat-trick, scores the goal with 2 minutes and 49 seconds left. Bob Cole gets to watch his childhood favorite team win, like my grandfather, just like him, sat down with a radio in Newfoundland and listened to the Montreal with Foster Hewitt calling the games. Hockey night in Canada, that was how they got to view hockey. And now these days we have YouTube, we have TV, we have live streaming, we have so many options for watching hockey games. We're so lucky. Those guys They had to create it in their imagination, and for them to go out and see it and call it for 50 years and do as good of a job as they do, absolute props. So proud to be a Newfoundlander, so proud of Bob Cole, and so proud of my Habs. 2 or 3 years they're a contender. Next year they're going to be in the playoffs for sure. Whether or not they're a contender, we'll see, guys. But 2 or 3 years for sure, we got a playoff contender. Brooks, Romanoff, Evans, Suzuki, Poeling, Kotkaniemi. God only knows what we're going to get in this draft. Go Habs, go, baby. Philip the Nose is going to be great next year. And stay tuned for my reevaluation video at the end of the season. Got plenty more content for you guys to come. And for you UFC fans, I got plenty of content for you guys to come too. Like, subscribe, comment. Huge win for the Habs. Poeling, first rookie since 1943 in Montreal to score a goal. To score a hat-trick. A goal to score a hat-trick. Go Habs, go, baby. Woo!